I was one of the Native American children, adopted at birth and removed from our country's Indian reservation system. I was raised in a small middle-class farming community, but was never told of my true American Indian heritage. It was still taboo back in those early days. The years passed, and in 1987 I lost both parents. While going through their personal belongings, my wife discovered my adoption papers and she began a search. 5 years later, I was reunited with my biological Lakota family living on the Lower Brule Sioux Indian Reservation of South Dakota. I am a son of two mothers and a product of two worlds that had collided. But I have an equal amount of love and pride for both. I'm Paul LaRoche, and the stories you are about to see are an attempt to share this true American story of a hidden heritage.
Welcome back to Hidden Heritage. I'm Paul LaRoche. Today we pay tribute to a musician whose legacy has only grown stronger since his passing. Lou Webster. Born in Green Bay, Wisconsin in 1949 and raised on the Menominee Reservation, Lou was surrounded by music from an early age on. With the family steeped in music traditions, his grandfather, father, and mother all played instruments, and it was no surprise that Lou would follow in their footsteps. But Lou wasn't just another musician. He discovered his true passion in an unexpected way. During a course at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, he was introduced to the Native American wood cording flute by his instructor, Edward Wapakonia. This moment sparked a lifelong love for the instrument, one he would not only play but also craft with his own hands. Lou wasn't widely known during his lifetime, but his music has gained a growing audience ever since. I believe he was one of the great native singer-songwriters of his era. Today, I'd like to share some of Lou's music and a few stories that capture his spirit and talent. His legacy continues to resonate, and it's my honor to remember him with you today.
1, 2, and 3.
I first met Lou in 1995 while working on a theater project in Minneapolis called Black Elk Speaks. We were both members of a small startup theater company called NACPAC, which stands for Native American Contemporary Performing Arts Company. Lou was one of the lead characters, playing music, singing, acting, and narrating. My daughter Nicole and I were the sound designers of the soundtrack for the play. I got involved in helping to form the theater company and helped to write the business plan. I had never heard of Lou Webster prior to that time, and for the first 6 months I knew him only as one of the members of the board of the theater company. It wasn't until we began to work on the soundtrack that I started to realize how good of a singer and songwriter he was. He had a very distinctive, rich baritone voice and played guitar pretty well. But he had a real knack for songwriting and lyrics. Now, I have to admit that a lot of Lou's songs were what I would call protest songs. Most of the lyrics were from the perspective of a Native American activist, and most of his subject matter dealt with American history and the many injustices done to the American Indian over the past 500 years. Most non-Native Americans didn't want to hear this, but yet I admired Lou for having the Constitution to take on the role as Native American troubadour. He never had a hit song, or none of his original songs actually ended up in the play. But during the recording of the soundtrack, he would sneak in a song or two during the various recording sessions. It was during that time that I started to get a feel for where Lou was coming from as a Native American songwriter. This was early on in the rediscovery of my own true Lakota biological heritage. And my natural instinct was to work on the reconciliation front. But Lou and I got along as two Native brothers and musicians and formed a bond during that time that lasted over the years. Lou passed away in 2018 without much fanfare. I didn't even hear about his passing until some time later. I never heard anyone talk about Lou, play his music, or provide a remembrance or review of his career. For the past several years, I have been listening to his songs and finally realized his true talent as a songwriter and Native activist. He had a unique way of telling a story that kind of sucked you in and had you listening to the full song from start to finish. I realized that I might be the only one who had a copy of some of these demo songs that Lou had recorded. Even in rough form, they sound like songs from a forgotten movie soundtrack. It may be long overdue, but I feel it was time to provide a tribute to one of the great American Indian songwriters and singers of our time. Here is one of my favorite songs that's called From the East Came Freedom.
1, 2, 3, 4. From the east across appeared, brilliant as the sky. We gathered in the distance, watched as it went by. A tree was in its way, but they didn't go around. That's when we knew the cross was a sword stuck into the ground. Now these strange men who followed the cross were said to be of Christ. In order that these men shall live, the Indian would sacrifice. We were the hand that gave them food and let their freedom grow. But they forgot about the red man, as everybody knows. Freedom, freedom, sing it to the sky. But the red man said, without the tree, mankind would surely die. Then from the east came the wagon wheel, rolling on the ground. It followed the path of the fallen tree that the cross had just cut down. Wagon wheels went rolling west, bringing hundreds by the score. That's when we knew this paradise was a paradise no more. Then from the east came the diplomat with a treaty in his hands, neatly signed and sealed by the father of the land. Now they took the Constitution from the noble Iroquois. In the name of democracy, they let the red man die. Freedom, freedom, sing it high and low. And the white man said, we'll keep the treaty as long as the grass shall grow. Then from the east came the iron horse with its breath black from coal, and with it came the hunters who killed the buffalo. Indians wore smallpox blankets for which they had to pay, but the buffalo hat for the aristocrat was the style of the day. Then rode into were the men of blue to keep this great land free. Like the massacre at Wounded Knee and the battle at Little Bighorn. Now a child at Sand Creek would never end the days of atrocities and lies born the American way. Freedom, freedom, sing it from the start. Bow your heads to the red, white, and blue with your hands upon your heart. And from the east came the churches with bells that chimed away. Hell, they gave us rags in return for riches. It's called the Christian way. They preached their book of hate in blood up into their knees. Well, the trail of tears took many years, but they reached the western sea. And from the east came your progress and your master's degrees, taught in the ways of more modern days and mass technology. Now you strip mine our reservations for fuel to heat your homes, and you take away our water rights to light your Astrodome. And you cop out on humanity 'cause it happened before your time, and you haven't the guts to face the truth 'cause it might cost a dime. But when your sword has cleaved the last tree, polluted the waters of this land, then and only then will you ever understand. Freedom, freedom, sing it and give thanks. But the red man said you can't be fed with all that gold that's in your banks. Hear the blackbirds call when they come home in the spring. Hear the last of the sad coyotes cry. Hear the ghost of a plain sing of the buffalo again, and fall asleep to a Lakota lullaby. The wind holds the names of the ones who have returned to this holy land on which their bodies toil. And should you fall down on your knees, put your ear down to the earth, you might hear their spirits singing this song. So hear the blackbirds call while they come home in the spring. Hear the lads of the sad coyotes cry. Hear the ghost of the plains sing of the buffalo again, and fall asleep to a Lakota lullaby. Time rolls on forever like the lazy gray Missouri. The stars above the prairie shine. There'll be a million sleeping braves. They're gonna rise up from the grave to sing this song that holds no trace of time. So hear the blackbirds call when they come home in the spring. Hear the lads of the sad coyotes cry. Hear the ghosts of the plain sing of the buffalo again, and fall asleep to a Lakota lullaby. Yes, fall asleep to a Lakota lullaby.
Yeah, I had one old fella tell me one time, I was making flute one time, he said, that's the sound that them ladies love. He said, that's how I got my first wife, was playing the flute, said when he was young, And he said, I said, people don't do that anymore, So he said, it used to be a beautiful sound. He said, you go through the village, and it's always nice, makes the old people feel nice because they know that there's still love in the air yet, and that life will continue because from that song, somebody's falling in love, and from that love, there's going to start a new family, and another generation is going to spring from that,
1, 2, 3, 4. I've seen the lights of the stars in your eyes, and I've seen that glow of the moon in your hair. It's just the way that you are, reservation girl. The way you feel, the way you're real, reservation girl. Well, those lights, those city lights, they burn my eyes in the night. Night, city nights, drive me out my mind. I want to be where you are, reservation girl, to feel your love deep inside, reservation girl. Well, I love the way you love to give me love all through the night. I love the way you love, making me feel right. I want to be in your arms, reservation girl, to feel your love and all your charm, reservation girl. I want to be by your side, reservation girl, loving you with all the love I can find, reservation girl. One time a friend of mine had gotten run off the road by a cop, you know, and he was in a coma for months, you know. I was one of my best friends, and finally his dad came to him one time, and it looked like they were going to turn the machines off, you know, and, you know, he wasn't going to make it, you know. And he says, oh, I don't know. He says, I want you to come and say goodbye or do something. If you can do anything, you know. Was he going to shut the machines off on him here tomorrow, you know. So I took my tobacco pouch and my flute, you know, and when I got there, his whole family was there. I said, I'm going to lock the door behind me, so when I go in there, I said, no, if any doctors or any nurses come around, I say, you keep them the hell out of here, you know. So don't let them come in there. All right, he said. So I made a big tobacco all around his bed there and put some on his chest, you know, by his heart there, and I started to play, you know, and immediately, like, I left my body, you know, and something took over, and I was out in this world where it was like being in the spirit world where I was, and I knew he was there. I could see him, sort of. I couldn't really see him, but I could feel, you know, how like you can feel something and you can see it, but you can't see it. That's basically what I saw. And he knew I was there. And I said, hey, you got to come back, you know. Your family wants you, you know. This is not your time, you know. You still got things to do, you know. So I played, you know, and I was crying, you know. Through my flute, I was crying, you know, and my heart was just swelling and swelling, you know. And he's saying, he said, he can't see me, you know, but he can hear me. I said, well, listen to the flute. And I said, and I'll guide you back, you know. It's what I was saying through this music, you know, in my heart. And so I went back, you know, and all of things got brighter and brighter and brighter. And all of a sudden, like, I woke up, you know, and I was in the hospital room. And he started moving around a little bit, you know, started moaning, you know, stuff like that, you know. And so I got out of there, and so, well, I don't know. His dad said, I've been there about a good hour, I guess. And here I'd been disrupting the whole hospital, you know, because it's supposed to be quiet, you know, intensive care, you know, all this and that, you know. But they didn't bother me, you know. And then next morning, his dad called me. He said, hey, our son woke up. You know? But months later, you know, when I talked to him again, he remembered, as you know, I had this dream, you know, where somebody was playing something, you know, and so I don't know what the heck it was. He said, but I just kept following it. And he said, I woke up when I was in hospital. And I said, oh, yeah, somebody was calling you. So I know that thing has power, you know, and that old man said he knew there was a spirit inside there, you know. So it was that spirit that helped me bring him back. So I know that the thing has power, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4. 500 years of tears and feeling the blues now. Sand Creek and Wounded Knee, to name but a few now. When I speak, can you listen to the things that I have to say? America is Indian country, and I like it that way. With American Indian blues now, Spanish such a long, long time. With American Indian blues has been here such a long, long time. Your way, high, your way, yeah, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Segregation, termination, and ripping off Indian land. A nickel here, another nickel there, that's the only thing they understand. The only Indian you ever cared about is on the nickel of your currency. The only damn time you ever thought about living, the first one you come to was we. Menominee, Ojibwe, and the Sioux. Mid-American Indian blues, been here such a long, long time. Mid-American Indian blues, it's been here such a long, long time. Your way high, your way, yeah, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. Your way high, your way high, way high, oh. You've heard me talk about this whole Indian nation. I sing about Indian blues. You've known about this whole situation where we could do nothing but lose. But people are speaking their minds. They talk about Indian ways. With your dreams you've got the power. With this life you have a way to believe.
Thank you for joining us today on Hidden Heritage. I'm your host, Paul LaRoche, reminding you that if you enjoyed the podcast, share us with your friends and help us spread the word. Till next time, from all of us in Brule, thank you.
We were born in the world with our souls still searching where our hearts they long to be. Blessed with these eyes and looking at the old ways and knowing what we'd like to see. Look up, reach out till you get what you're after. Seek and you shall receive. 'Cause with your dreams you've got the power. This life you have a way to believe. For you way high, your way high, way
highway.